Welcome to episode 180.
Loved it. Great opening. I was like, usually while the intro's going, I'm like in Facebook sharing all my links here. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? I had to click over. I'm like, what is going on?
Yes, we had to have our own scroll for this one, man. We got mega Star Wars announcements came out right after the show. So like they waited for us to be done, knowing they were going to announce all this stuff. So
that's right. There's that, and then the awesome news also with Marvel and a ton of teaser trailers released.
Just really Disney completely. Disney Plus, Disney movies.
Now, what was the significance of this week? Because usually they do all this during their, what is it, the D21 or whatever they call it?
It's it was a D23.
D23.
This sort of thing. Because they didn't have it, I think what it was, I don't think so much the significance of this week. I think it was they did it knowing it would be a complete surprise to everybody. Yeah. And it was like right before the second to last episode of the season's Mandalorian. So it's setting up everything we're going to see going forward. They announced the fact that we have Mandalorian will be premiering next year. It says Christmas, but they didn't specify if it was actually Christmas Day or if it would be Christmas Eve, which would be on a Friday. So, hey, Kevin Miner, happy holidays, Kevin.
Thanks for joining us today.
Yes, next week will be more Mandalorian as we talk about the final episode, and I'm sure we'll talk on some holidays. It's Christmas week next week, so we'll get into that. But yeah, it's got a lot to cover today, so right away I want to get into some ad reads and get those out of the way. Not that we don't love our sponsors, we definitely love them. But kick us off is the Loringer Family Chiropractic Center PC, located in Belleville, Michigan, and Dexter, Michigan. At Loringer Family Chiropractic Center PC, they do take great pride in providing the finest chiropractic care to each and every patient, offering on-site digital x-rays, massage therapy, orthotics by foot level, young limb essential oils, aromatherapy, full line of vitamins, all in a family-oriented environment. You can give them a call, 734-697-4244. Visit them online at LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com. We have a link at oddmusings.com for you to find it nice and easy. And, of course, you can find them on Facebook there. They are located, just put in Loringer Family Chiropractic, and you will find them. Actually, it's at Loringer Family Chiro, and that is where they're located on Facebook. Check them out. They're always posting different stuff, things going on, some little tips and things like that. And you can definitely check out some of the different people there. We had their CA Lauren just had a birthday on the 9th. And I think we mentioned Dr. Corinne had her birthday on December 7th. So they always share all the great people who work for them. A lot of birthdays lately over there, along with massage therapist Colleen, who does a great job over there. So definitely check out Loringer Family Chiropractic Center PC. And like I said, Belleville, Michigan and Dexter, Michigan is their locations, and they got a lot of cool stuff going on there. And then we also have
Team Titans of Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. That's right. Here at Team Titans, we put relationships first. We do use the latest in tools and technologies to maximize your real estate experience, but at the core, it's still a people business. So even though we're heading into the new year here and the holiday season with Christmas and Hanukkah and everybody else's Festivus or whatever for the rest of us.
Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa.
All of this stuff is going on right now, but people still need to move. People still need to find houses. We actually felt at Team Titans here, we had a nice uptick in business this last week. We've been busy, wrote up a few offers, sold a house. Good times. So, don't think you have to put your life on hold for your real estate goals just because we're at this time of year. So give us a call. 586-549-6096 is my number, or Jill Webler, 586-277-2145.
Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, man, some great announcements last week. Was not expecting that at all, especially with all the rumors been floating around. I mean, of course, when they make these announcements, and this is not an official one, but it started popping up like crazy that Disney's going to start developing a Firefly reboot series. That one's not been confirmed. I've seen like 18 different articles, and every time you look through it, it gets into it. It's more, you can tell it's a speculation article that they're hoping, and we'll see. I mean, I'd love to see them reboot Firefly, but right now we got so much cool Star Wars coming out. And if you paid attention to the crawl at the opening, we almost lost it all after Ryan Johnson 3 years ago came out with The Last Jedi. So
Yeah.
Last Jedi. So God, it's just
There's been a lot going on here in the world of Star Wars. It's very exciting now. You can even feel the energy building. Like I said before in previous shows, the real measurement of Star Wars isn't the movies. It's the marketing. It's the merchandise. That's where Star Wars makes their money. And like you can even see at Lucasfilm, they're now doing Mando Mondays where they're releasing new product every Monday surrounding, centered around the Mandalorian. The things in the stores coming in. It's the original trilogy is popular. Prequel trilogies are popular. And anything related to Mandalorian is popular. The sequel stuff isn't selling much. It really isn't.
No.
So
I mean, the only thing I've seen in stores, which means it's not selling, is Poe Dameron's girlfriend's character in the Black Series. I see a bunch of her, but really don't see anything else. And then there's, I forget the character's name, was the one that they were supposing was Lando's daughter too. So.
Yes,
but most of the stuff everything it's selling is when Mandalorian stuff. It's like I went to when I got the figures from the first Mandalorian Monday. They were there on that Tuesday. I missed it on Monday. What Tuesday? They still had some. Next time I went back, it was all gone.
Right.
So when people
it definitely moves quick.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see the energy returning and everything flowing. So we'll be speculating on some of the stuff. We got all the Star Wars announcements. We got some Marvel stuff. We'll see about the Firefly. Janice saying no to a reboot. Want the continuation of Firefly, not a reboot. I just don't know if you can actually do that with where the different actors are in their careers. I don't know if you could pull it all together again. You might be able to do as a one shot or a mini series. But I don't know if it's a full series.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind seeing if they were to do a continuation. Now, of course, the hard part right now is Fillion is still tied into ABC with his show, The Rookie. So he's under contract there. Now, of course, ABC is Disney, so they could work their magic and move him around if they wanted to. But I have a feeling he's going to be tied up doing that series for a little while because it's still doing pretty good. It's coming back sometime in the spring here. So
here's the question, though. If they do reboot it and recast, who would you put in that role? I think I know who Disney would use.
Who do you think?
Chris Pratt.
Pratt could do it if they were doing it
as Guardians of the Galaxy is moving on to a new crew.
Right,
he's done with that.
Well, and I think he would do it if it was doing it as movies. If they're going to go for the series, I have a feeling they're going to go with a whole new cast, probably semi unknowns, partially knowns, and let them just kind of build up who they are. But again,
a lot of these names, they're all moving to streaming.
Yeah, and that's what we're seeing a lot of is this. But it was just is Chris Pratt. As mentioned after Guardians, he's done with the superhero stuff for a while. He's got the Jurassic World movie. They're finishing up.
Which, let's be honest, does anyone care about the Jurassic World movie anymore?
The people that are making it.
Right. But as far as I felt like the last one kind of ruined it. The second half of the last one.
Yeah, it was crap. It was crap, and I hated it. And
first half was great. The first half should have been the whole movie.
Yeah, when they took him off the island, then it messed up everything. Now we got a world of dinosaurs roaming. It's not going to be fun anymore. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I personally, it's one thing with I don't know what kind of control they have on just being able to do anything Firefly because Whedon was able to make his movie, really didn't have any hurdles to jump. Yeah, 20th Century Fox paid for it, but I'm wondering how much he still actually owns and controls, and they still have to go through him to actually create it. Because he's been doing the comic series for several years, and it's an ongoing continuation of the story.
Now, is a better role for Chris Pratt, should they continue anything in streaming and reboot, I think would be Indiana Jones. Did they announce Indiana Jones is coming back on Disney?
Yes, it's in pre-production now, and it's got a 2022 release date.
Is it a movie though, or
it's a movie?
movie. So
Yeah,
it's
it's
probably
the fifth
using
movie.
Harrison Ford then.
Yeah, Harrison Ford will be in this one, as they've said. So let me get into some of the movie stuff they're talking about here. I'm going to start with Marvel. We'll get into the Disney streaming stuff all in a bit here. For Marvel, for movies, Kevin Feige confirmed that Black Panther 2 will not recast Chadwick Boseman. They're not going to replace the King at this time. It sounds like it's going to follow other characters as part of the storyline. They also announced a third Ant-Man movie, Quantumania. So that's going to actually tie into, I think, a lot of stuff they're bringing into with Doctor Strange, the multiverse of madness.
Little side note there with Black Panther. A lot of people are like, oh, you can't recast Black Panther. It has to be Chadwick Boseman. But here's the thing. In the original movie, the way they set it up, the Black Panther is like this spirit that can transfer from person to person. So you can easily change who is the Black Panther without it being a violation of what the rules of who the Black Panther is.
Right. And I think part of it is they have other characters that they really kind of developed in the last movie.
I think they'll make it the sister.
Yeah, I think I could see her. I don't know if she'll take up the mantle at the end of that film, but I think it's going to follow them. And then I have a feeling they will treat it with some respect, and actually something will happen and T'Challa will be gone. And then we'll have her come in, or they'll have somebody else come in to be the new Black Panther.
So I don't know if Janice is inventing a new superhero called Anyman instead of Ant-Man.
Anyman, yeah. Yeah.
The Y is right next to the T on the keyboard, so I'm guessing she meant to put Ant-Man.
Right. So back to the Ant-Man is they're going to introduce Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. Ooh. And then the Doctor Strange movie we know is coming is Multiverse of Madness. It'll tie into both the upcoming WandaVision series, which starts in January, and the new Spider-Man movie, which they've been announcing they're bringing everybody, and it sounds like they're doing a full Spider-Verse, which would make sense if they're tying in multiverse with Doctor Strange and all that. So it's
so far, though, that WandaVision, I am having zero interest in with the way they're advertising this. Zero.
The advertising, I think, has been very misleading. So I'm going to, of course, give it a shot.
I'm going to give it a shot. I'm just
But I have a feeling that they're Kevin Feige and them, they're really trying not to release too much, because so much that's going to probably happen in that is going to set up the Doctor Strange movie.
You saw the movie Pleasantville, right?
Yeah, I liked Pleasantville.
I'm wondering, I did too. I enjoyed that movie, but so I'm hoping it kind of is going that route, and then reality will start coming in and changing things or something. I don't know, but we'll see. Yeah, well, this would have to be a prequel, also, kind of thing.
Well, WandaVision, they've already said will take place in the 50s. So with the time frame and being multiverse and timelines, I think what we're going to see is they've not revealed hardly anything, and the trailer I think is mainly just the first one, maybe 2 episode stuff, and it'll set up everything it needs for this limited series that'll again tie into Doctor Strange. But we'll see starting next month.
Okay.
They also announced they're developing a new Fantastic Four movie. Hopefully, they'll do it right this time. So, but then
a lot of rumors originally were John Krasinski might be Mr. Fantastic, especially since the comic book reboot of Fantastic Four, the likeness of Reed Richards definitely looks like John Krasinski.
Yeah. So we'll see. They haven't announced any of that any more than what we know there. So that's just development, which means they haven't probably got a script yet. They just greenlit it. But then, of course,
so those are the movies.
Yeah, that's just the movies. But on that side of the Marvel, then on Lucasfilm, we a couple of movie announcements. One, I'm real excited about. I like Patty Jenkins. I like what she did with Wonder Woman. I'm excited next week I'll be able to watch Wonder Woman 84 on HBO, since the movie theaters are still closed here in Michigan, and otherwise I would go to the theater and see it. But Rogue Squadron is coming out in December 2023. Mm-hmm. And I'm real excited for what they're going to do there. There's a lot of speculation on that and how it's going to tie in to the original trilogy. In terms of the comic series, too, mentioned there's a...
also the novels, X-Wing series, which were hugely popular in the expanded universe. Right. So I have a feeling they're going to be tapping heavily into that, too. Also, it's called Rogue Squadron, which theoretically could be a sequel to Rogue One, because Rogue One was the original Rogue.
That's kind of what I was getting to, was in the comics, it talks about Luke and Wedge were talking, and Wedge didn't want to talk about, call it Rogue. And Luke actually mentions, was it Jen Erso?
Jyn Erso.
It's Universal, yeah. And so that was a tie-in the comics to that, which could be then be a tie-in to this. So there may be something. It wouldn't be necessarily a direct sequel, but definitely it would be a homage to that, and which is great because actually that came out 4 years ago today,
Well, I
or
think
this week. So
I think they may take the approach of like the X-Wing series, where it's not a direct sequel in terms of the overall Star Wars arc, but a sequel in the sense of the squadron. We saw the origin of it in Rogue One. We will now see how the squadron develops and follow their adventures, like the X-Wing. Because in X-Wing books, we followed Wedge and Tilly's with Rogue One, and then it became Wraith Squadron was the break off from that was really popular as well. So I think and Patty Jenkins will be great for this, I think.
Yeah. So I think she's going to do it actually. And I like what she talked about, the fact that her father was a fighter pilot. So she's got some personal like insight into that. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see on that. So the Rogue Squadron movie sounds really cool. I'm excited about that. See where they go with it.
They didn't say launch dates, did they?
December 2023 was when that one comes out.
Okay.
So we've got 3 years. They've given away zero speculation on where it falls in the timeline. So we don't know if it's going to be during the original trilogy, post original trilogy, where it's going to fall with all that stuff there. Although it seems like even within the Mandalorian, they've set up some different things, not with Rogue Squadron, but seeing X-Wings a few times and different things that could be, and some different things tied into there too. And then the other movie announcement within Star Wars is Taika Waititi is going to get a movie. It was announced in May. It's already been in development, so I would assume that means he's got a script he's been working on, and they're starting to plan out the shooting schedule. They've given no release date on that.
They didn't say which product he was doing.
No, all they said was it was going to be something kind of new. He'll be playing his humor. I'm assuming he's going out of the normal within Star Wars, similar to like Mandalorian.
To me, I think he'd be perfect for the Lando project that they're going to be doing.
Well, again, the Lando project wasn't formally announced.
I thought that wasn't on the list of.
Oh wait, yeah, no wait, it is. I'm sorry, it was. Yeah, the event series, but he's doing a movie.
Right.
Yeah, he could probably do the event series just fine, but I think for his movie, I have a feeling.
I'm just saying for his tone and comedy, I think he'd be a perfect fit for Lando.
Possibly on that. I could probably work with that. And maybe he'll have a hand in that. Who knows? Maybe he'll be one of the directors like he did with Mandalorian. But I think with him on his own movie, he's gonna be able to introduce something a little different than we've seen. That's not within the canon of what was original. It's gonna be something different. Maybe we'll see. Again, they're not announcing any titles with his, so we don't know where it's gonna fall, who's gonna follow, and maybe we'll see something. From different side characters we've never seen before, creating a whole new type of spinoff.
Right.
So I could see him doing that too. But yeah, there's a lot of course, series stuff that they announced. Pixar movies. They announced their new Luca set in Italy will come out in June 2021. This one was interesting. Hitting theaters in 2022 is Lightyear. It's the origin story for Buzz Lightyear. It's going to be voiced by Chris Evans, which I was surprised that they're not getting Tim Allen to come in and do that. But being an origin story, and Tim Allen does the toy, I have a feeling they're trying to separate the toy from what may have been like an original series or something like that,
or this could be Disney's trying to do a soft reboot and for future things going a different direction.
Yeah, I feel that's part of it too. So that's gonna be interesting on that. And then the other one, I was
like to have control over their actors, and Tim Allen's independent. He doesn't need to have a leash.
No, the other one they announced for Pixar, I thought sounds kind of funny in some ways. Turning Red. It's about a 13-year-old girl going through puberty that transforms into a giant red panda when she gets excited. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Yeah, I'm serious. That's what I said. I was like, okay. And of course, coming out next week on Christmas is the current Pixar movie Soul. That'll be released on Disney Plus. And then We have all kinds of stuff. But that's basically the movie announcements that we got within that, and everything else was a lot of series stuff, things like that. But yeah, the Indiana Jones is where it's at in development. It sounds like they're ready to start shooting. They're probably been doing tons of pre-production to get everything ready to go. Yeah. Probably the first year they'll start filming. They've already started filming in one of the series. They announced the Anders for Star Wars or Andor. Andor. Diego. Yeah, that's been filming for 3 weeks now.
Yep.
So
one's filming now, and then the other one starts. What's the next one they're going to be filming? It was
Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan starts
Obi-Wan.
next month too.
Yep.
Yeah, Obi-Wan starts next month.
Which they announced Hayden Christensen is definitely coming back.
Yeah, returning as Darth Vader. So that's going to be interesting how they explore that relationship, because it was always implied from the movies, original movies, that Obi-Wan and Darth Vader had not seen each other since their initial fight. So it had been 20-something years.
Well, really, the only line is, when I last saw you, I was the learner. Now I'm the master. So as long as they portray it in a way where he's still considered a learner, then technically they're not violating it, because it didn't say how long time had gone. So we just assumed it.
Yeah, and that's what it is. And of course, with Star Wars, we know everything is from a certain point of view. Because
maybe Obi-Wan just hides under a pile of sand, and then Anakin never sees him.
Yeah,
because he eats sand. Yeah. But I'm excited for that.
Well, they also have,
but that also brings in the possibility, if Hayden's coming back for that, he can also if he may also appear as Vader in Ahsoka.
It's possible. You know, that's the Ahsoka series is definitely going to be real excited about that. Here, let me share that. We were talking about, before we got on here, the logo, and so let's talk a little.
Yeah, pull that up.
So I'm pulling that up right now.
So I've had a long running theory of how they're gonna retcon the sequels out of existence, and the key player was Ahsoka.
Yep.
And it was through the use of the veil of the Force and the mirrors. Now it's hard to see there, but see that light blue circle behind her?
Yes.
That behind her name there, that looks like the veil of the Force, how it appears, like if it was an aerial view looking down. It has like these light pathways and portals.
But look at it looks like the portal we saw in the Rebel series.
Exactly. So there's a lot of hinting here at the veil of the Force being a part of this. So if so, that's the veil of the Force is the key to retconning the sequels out. So we'll see what happens.
And as they say here, though, it's going to be written by Filoni. It's going to be a limited series, which means we may only get like the one season and that's it.
Yeah, it might be like a 12 episode one season instead of.
And they've not announced length of it yet, but it's just going to be limited, which means we're not going to have. It's not an ongoing, so we're not going to have season after season after season, which I think is good, because if they're going to do the limited series to correct some things they want to correct and set some things up, we could see Ahsoka popping into the movies too.
Well, exactly. That's what's great about the way they're doing these series is they can use a series, like it could be called Ahsoka, just like the Clone Wars. Rex is appearing in multiple series. You got them in the Clone Wars and Rebels. He could appear in the Bad Batch. He could appear in any of these other series. So Ahsoka, even though the series is for hers, she could appear in Kenobi. She could appear in the Rogue Squadron. You know, it all depends on when these things take place, but they can cross over and all these characters can intermix however they want. So that's really cool. Yeah,
I don't think we're going to see the end of Ahsoka anytime soon. But then they also announced Rangers of the New Republic.
Yeah, so I'm guessing this is going to center around Cara Dune. Cara Dune?
Yep. Well, and that's the thing. I've been seeing something with her supposedly, and I think this is just people writing their op-ed articles trying to say that Disney's telling her she needs to calm down her Twitter, which really I follow her on Twitter. She's not bad. She just doesn't agree with everything that people say, but she's not out there trashing everybody. But Rangers of the New Republic, I can see it falling to that, as well as I've been seeing more pop up with the guy we've seen a couple times now as an X-wing pilot.
Yep.
He's the one that gave her the badge, so I have a feeling he's going to be a part of this as well.
Yep.
So, and it says it's going to intersect with future stories, culminate in a climactic event. So it's set within the timeline of The Mandalorian.
We do have to get, though, Disney needs to get Chuck Norris into this. The original Texas Ranger needs to be.
Yeah. He could be a Walker.
That's right.
Walker, Ranger of the New Republic. Yeah.
Yeah, he could be known as Walker.
Then we talked about the Lando one. They haven't given a whole lot on that. I guess Justin Simeon's the creator of the critically acclaimed Dear White People series, which I'm not familiar with. And it's a brand new event series. So again, it's another event series. So it's going to be probably more limited in terms of time, just telling you the story. And then of course, Andor, which
oh God, I'm blanking on his name. Who played Lando? Danny Glover, not Danny Glover.
Donald Glover, isn't it?
Donald Glover. Thank you.
Yeah, I believe he's coming back.
Won't be Danny Glover playing.
I believe he was signed, and as well as we may see from Solo some returns of those characters. Hopefully, it's setting up what they want to do going forward with the Solo, like they did with the Solo movie and that, which I still really liked.
Yeah,
I like they made some announcements of characters for Andor. They have Stellan Skarsgård going to be in it. Fiona Shaw, Genevieve O'Reilly will play Mon Mothma, so we get that in there. So this is kind of the it's supposed to be the probably the creation of the rebellion prior to Rogue One, of course, because they hinted at Andor having a ton of previous experience as a rebel.
Well, it looks like this is a flashback of a flashback. So we got Rogue One was a flashback to Episode 4 for the line about the stuff being stolen, the data being stolen for the Death Star. Then in the trailer for this, they show him saying the line where to Jyn about how we did a lot of things we're not proud of, and if we don't finish this, then we did it for nothing. So now it looks like this is now a flashback. Is like we got Inception going on, multiple layers of. We're going deeper.
Well, now
and
we're
deeper
going back to find out what he meant with it, and then go from there.
That's the new Star Wars. Every time someone says a certain line, the next movie is to explore what that line was.
And they are filming in London, so we'll see that next year, and then And then The Acolyte is another series they announced. It's a mystery theater or mystery thriller. It takes place in the final days of the High Republic era. So we're seeing an era done that we haven't seen outside of comics and video games. So
right, and the High Republic is a new series they're launching in the novels, and it's this whole thing they're doing. So they're tying this into that. So I wonder if The Acolyte is going to be like the first major Sith or something. I don't know.
I don't know. I think
all right. It says emerging dark side powers in the final days of so maybe it's like the first Sith or something.
Yep, and it might tie into the Knights of the Old Republic stuff they've hinted at doing for a while. So
right,
and there's been a lot of talk of that with them, the games popping up on a lot of different references and that. So, and of course the Bad Batch, they do had the trailer for that. Looks really good.
Yeah, if you love the Clone Wars, this is it. This is the extension of that.
And this takes place. They show Order 66 happening, and they're still around. So it's going to be interesting to see where they take us with this in the post Clone War era in this. Mm-hmm. And it says they're doing daring mercenary missions as they struggle to stay afloat and find new purpose. So obviously, it sounds like they're not with the Empire. They're going to be they're going to be mercenaries, and so obviously, like we saw with Rex, and that they don't have their chips aren't working. Of course, they were the Bad Batch, so that made makes sense on that. So it's definitely a cool sizzle reel. Looks great. Star Wars Visions. I'm really excited about this too because they're going to have animated short films, and they're getting.
But this is Japanese all anime. I personally. I'm sorry, but I don't like anime. I think anime looks like crap half the times.
It depends on what you're looking at, and there's a lot of it that's rushed out there because they cycle it through really fast.
Yeah.
But when different things are done, like when the Matrix had their anime stuff done, a lot of that was really good.
Usually my experience with anime is they have about 5 minutes worth of animation that they somehow stretch out over 30 minutes.
Well, and again, there's a lot of stuff like that, but there is a lot of great anime out there.
Yeah.
Things like, was it was it the Kiki's Delivery Service, things like that. Those are all anime too, and there's a lot of great stuff that can be done. And this is where I think coming in here, we're going to have them actually be able to do in their short film. So it's going to hopefully, like if the Matrix one they did back 20 years ago looked really good because they allowed them to kind of really flex their animation, where a lot of stuff you see where it's not moving is because the anime stuff you see coming out is rushed so much because they're literally cranking out weekly. So the only way they can do it to have like a 22 episode thing is they got to have a lot of just still shots that they just do moving pictures.
Yeah, but half the time too, they just have crappy stories. Well, it's just two guys yelling and punching for 30 minutes.
And again, there's a lot of the same stuff, but there's a lot of stuff out there that you haven't explored. So you really should look into some other stuff.
I've looked at other stuff. I usually think it's crap.
But then the next one is a droid story. And this one sounds kind of interesting. We're going to see R2-D2 and C-3PO back. So obviously, I assume we're going to get Anthony Daniels because he's like the only one that can play C-3PO.
And he's the only one that's been involved. Like, he has consistently been C-3PO from the beginning, whether it's audiobooks, cartoons, movies, series. He's always been there to do it. So
yeah, he's been the only one. And then, of course, in Lucasfilm, they announced the new Willow series.
Will Ron Howard be part of this again?
I don't believe so.
Because it's interesting because his daughter is now getting involved, and he was part of this. He was part of Solo. So it seems like the Howards are getting more and more mixed into Lucasfilm, and now Willow's coming back. So it'd be nice if they were somehow involved.
I have a feeling Ron Howard's going to probably be like an executive producer on it, maybe give his insight into things, but it's going to be interesting to see what they actually do here. I like
Janice is forming like a whole troop of people going on a hike to the ends of the earth. She's got Donald Glover, Warwick Davis. Let's see, who else was she gonna follow? Shuri.
Go back to Robert's question here. I just saw that was the difference between high and old. The Old Republic, I think the Old Republic takes place, I think, 1,000 years before. The High Republic is 500 years before the Battle of Yavin. Yeah. So that's
the High Republic was previously really never explored in the Star Wars timeline. It was which is why it's kind of exciting that Disney's creating this whole series around that time frame, because we don't really know anything about that.
And I believe at this point, because Darth Revan had been gone, all that from the Knights of the Republic games. So this is kind of technically post Sith. The Sith were still around, but they weren't visible at this point in time. They were in hiding. Yeah. And so this is just where the Knights, the Jedi Knights kind of helped with this. So the High Republic, so everything was kind of this kind of grandiose time, basically, prior to the fall of the Republic into the Empire and that. So. Yeah. But so we got Luke.
Willow is this. This is an extension of the story, right? Decades after. So yeah.
Yeah, Warwick Davis coming back. He's role of the Great Sorcerer, Willow Ufgood, with John Chu directing director of the groundbreaking Crazy Rich Asians. He's directing the pilot.
I wonder if we'll get Val Kilmer. I know he's not in the same health he used to be, but this takes decades later. They could easily somehow, he was a warrior. They could give him battle wounds or something to explain his difference in health. It would be
interesting to say bring him in not so much as a warrior, but as a and kind of a retired,
Well, that's what I mean.
Life, so they don't have to deal with any of that. So, that would be kind of interesting on that. So,
it just would be nice to see Val Kilmer again, and because you don't really see him anymore in any projects.
He's done a couple things recently, but after his stroke and that, I don't think he can do a lot.
Right.
So he needs help.
I hear he's going to be in Top Gun. The new Top Gun in some capacity. He will be in it.
Yep. So kind of just sticking with the Disney Plus thing for a minute here. We've got the new series. We've got, like we mentioned, WandaVision. Falcon and Winter Soldier is coming out in March.
Oh, they got a full trailer. I didn't see the trailer for that one. I'll have to look that up.
I haven't either, so I'm looking at it. And then they had a first look at Loki.
This looks fun.
Yeah. This is coming out in May.
It kind of has like a Men in Black feel.
Yes. I'm excited about that one. What I like what they're doing here is we got WandaVision starts January 15th, and it looks like it's going to end. And then probably within a week or two, the Falcon and Winter Soldier will start, and then same thing into the Loki. So they're going boom, 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 series. And then coming late fall will be the new Hawkeye series.
Okay.
And then Haley Steinfeld will be appearing in the series. Not sure what. And then, of course, I'm not sure. That's why I was like,
I wonder if that was his daughter in the movies. who he was training to, because I think the speculation was she would rise up to become the next Hawkeye.
And I could see that. Yep, she looks at that age. She's 24. And she's in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. She was the girl that she played Maddie Ross in the remake of True Grit. So that's how I know her from. Okay. So I guess it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing there. And then I like that they have the What If animated, which I'm kind of.
I always enjoyed that series.
I'm excited about it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, I hope they do it right because I love the comics. The comics were great. Yeah. And then Kevin Feige, I love the fact that Kevin Feige is still in charge of Marvel. So we know that things are kind of still being controlled. They're doing Ironheart. It's set to star Dominic Thorne, engineering protege Riri Williams. Armor Wars, which examines one of Tony Stark's biggest fears, will star Don Cheadle. And then Secret Invasion. So they're really going into the whole Skrulls and Armor Wars and all these different projects. No release dates for these new projects. So
they confirmed Samuel Jackson is coming back as Nick Fury in there.
Yeah, I heard that a couple weeks ago. So I was like, okay, so he's going to be popping in, I assume. He's going to be kind of like, I'm here again and then gone. And then they also announced the Moon Knight, She-Hulk, and Ms. Marvel series. They have She-Hulk was cast. So it's there's a lot of rumors.
They did say who is that? Tatiana. I gotta look her up.
Tatiana Maslany. Yes, I pulled her up real quick here. She was in Orphan Black.
How do you spell Tatiana?
It's Tatiana, and then the last name is Maslany. She's 35, and she has she's been around for a while. She was in Heartland, Orphan Black.
But as She-Hulk?
Well, I mean, the thing
is, they're going to CGI her as she's not.
They're going to
have to CGI her
in the comics. It's varied in terms of how big she was when she wasn't She-Hulk. So I think that it's going to they'll be CGIing her a lot when she becomes She-Hulk. So
interesting.
So it should be interesting on that. So they announced that with her, and then. I said they announced Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel. Not much more on that. Ms. Marvel star is going to appear in Captain Marvel 2, though. So
because She-Hulk pretty much stays as She-Hulk all the time. She rarely
in the comics. She didn't always do that. In the comics, she fluctuated between the two, but she had control over how she changed. So she could control it, and where Bruce Banner for a while there couldn't control it. He would just change. Right, she actually could. So there's been different iterations within She-Hulk. The thing with She-Hulk too, I liked was the last series I read, which is about a little over 10 years ago, had a lot more humor involved. And it was quite funny, and I'm hoping they go that direction with it. And then they're also hinting at, since now that Daredevil is coming back to Disney because the contract's done with Netflix, they've already said Charlie Cox will start appearing in the movies. That they're talking about he's going to appear in the She-Hulk series too, as Daredevil and Matt Murdock. So
it says up there too, Mark. You might have said this. Mark Ruffalo is coming back as Bruce Banner for the She-Hulk one.
Yes. So I think that's going to be probably the initial stuff that we see how she got the radiation basically.
Marvel Studios is working on Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. Yes. Well, we know how that worked for Star Wars.
Well, this one's directed by James Gunn though, and they're gonna film it alongside the Guardians of the Galaxy 3. Yeah. So it's set for which is set for release in 2023. So 2022, this holiday special, I think, is a precursor to the 2023, and then they're also going to do a I Am Groot series, a short film starring Groot. So it'll be interesting. I mean, the Star Wars Lego.
I just hope they get the script right.
Yeah. Well,
the Groot series.
Yeah. If Gunn has any hand in it, I think they'll do just fine. Of course, I mean, the dialogue is the tricky part.
That's what I'm saying. It's going to be tough. They better pay big money to a good script writer.
So I talked about some of the movies already. We know about a lot of this stuff here. They're scrolling down, and Disney's got a new Baymax series coming out. So a lot of cool stuff. In animation, they're doing Raya and the Last Dragons can premiere on Disney Plus. Zootopia is getting its own series, hitting spring of 2022.
That was a fun series.
Yep. Tiana, based on Princess and the Frog, current premiere in 2023. So, I mean, they went out a few years on this. I guess they're doing a long-form musical comedy for Moana. No clue on that. Encanto is a new movie set in Colombia, written by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Iwaju is original long-form series partnership with Kugli Media is premiering Disney Plus 2022. And of course, Lightyear, we talked about that. They're doing a new Cars series with Lightning McQueen and Mater. Doug Days, which is going to be a series following Doug from Up, the dog. There's a lot of cool shorts, things like that. I mean, they did a ton of announcements of everything they got coming out. So it's just real exciting, everything that they announced. Knowing that we're getting, 10 new things of Star Wars that we know of. Mandalorian's continuing on season 3, tie-ins to Mandalorian. So
it really does feel like I think the announcement shows the Filoni verse is in full effect.
Yes.
Everything about it, I think, is geared towards that. Not one single announcement towards the previous plans of where they talked about the Game of Thrones, D&D, Game of Thrones guys doing their own trilogy. Nothing about Rian Johnson's trilogy. Everything of the old guard. I think they're moving on. And there's a lot of rumors I'm reading that Favreau will actually be taking Lucasfilm president role.
Well, they announced Kathleen Kennedy, I believe, announced a couple years ago that 2021 she would retire from Lucasfilm. Right. They've not announced exactly who, but I could see definitely Favreau taking over.
I can see it being Favreau being president with Filoni being the head of creative or whatever the role is whatever the title is. But Filoni and Favreau together are a perfect team because Filoni is the essence and heart of Star Wars, the historian of Star Wars. He knows the ins and outs. Favreau has the experience, knowledge, and network and gravitas to be the president and manage something like Lucasfilm. So I think combined, it's such a great a great duo.
Oh, I think so. And while Kathleen Kennedy is still involved, realistically, I think that she has finally her trying to control and change Star Wars over to those that can actually produce something that brings money in, which is what they want first and foremost. Is they want to make money at this, but allow them to tell great stories. Because I mean, realistically, while the toys sell, the toys won't sell if the story's not great, and that's what we've seen with everything that came out over the last 3 movies.
Yeah, or even just like the last episode of The Mandalorian. How awesome was that?
Yeah,
the
and
acting was phenomenal.
Yeah, chapter 15 is The Believer.
The Believer, not to be confused with The Belieber for Justin Bieber followers.
Yeah, but we talked last week that there was speculation it was going to be called The Hand. It turned out not to be.
That was so wrong.
Yep.
So I send a curse upon you, false rumors. I was so excited, but I will say this did not live up at all to the rumors. It exceeded them though by far.
This was such a good. I love seeing Cara back in here. I love the character.
The real surprise was Bill Burr.
Yeah, Bill Burr is just fantastic. I loved him last season. And right away we get him, and I love this. I love this shot here. Let me find it real quick. They only got it here. They moved it around here. That's character posters. I wonder if it's in the concept art. They right here. They were actually breaking down old TIE fighters and stuff like that. And then
salvage yard.
In the actual salvage yard, when you see it, they're all rusted out. So they've been there for a while.
Yeah. And in true Star Wars fashion, the entire planet is a salvage yard, not just I love how everything is a whole planet.
Well, that's the thing. And if realistically, I mean, they all move around the planets pretty quick. So the planets in Star Wars universe are all very small.
This reminded me a lot too of The Force Unleashed. They had the junk planet where they would have put all the waste. That salvage yard was very reminiscent of that. And they send the prisoners here to work on the salvage yard. So it was very good. But Bill Burr in the episode when he's having that talk, and we'll cover it more, but just the emotion he had when they were talking about Operation Cinder, which I'm hoping is also a indicator. My other theory being we'll get Inferno Squadron next year in this. Inferno Squadron was a key part of Operation Cinder. So I'm hoping for Inferno Squadron.
Yeah. And actually he mentioned Operation Cinder, and he mentioned one of the planets they were on. And so they really pinpointed a little bit where Bill Burr's character was.
And you could really tell the way he he really portrayed like the PTSD side, or you could tell the weight of what he's carrying in that scene, and it was just so good. And even Pedro Pascal's acting of, he takes the helmet off. You can tell how uncomfortable he is without the helmet off. And someone even pointed out the nuance of his acting, because he's always wearing a helmet. He's not used to. He's used to having to turn his head to look at what he's looking at. And even with the helmet off, he was still turning the whole head. He wasn't going like this. He was turning the whole head to see. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, that was definitely, I think, very important to the character, because of the fact that, he wears the helmet all the time.
Right.
He very rarely takes it off, even in his normal everyday world. So then
we also found out TPS reports exist in Star Wars.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I love that. He was like, "Yeah, we have TPS reports."
Office Space, was that
Office Space? Yeah, that was the big thing. It was the TPS reports here. So yeah, here's I love this the shot here. I'm gonna share this. We got them. The whole thing is they're breaking into an Imperial facility to find out where Moff Gideon's ship is, because they know he's somewhere, and if they can get into an Imperial computer, they can do it. And Bill Burr, being a former Imperial, knows how to do it.
And I gotta say, I love this tank trooper outfit. They took the mud trooper outfit from Solo and put the tank trooper helmet on it and painted it the same color as the mud trooper. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love the look of that. I have the tank trooper helmet I've been wanting to do and I've been wanting to do the tank trooper costume, which used to have the Scarif trooper from Rogue One in it for the body, but it looks phenomenal in that color as a mud trooper. So I think that's what I'm going to have to try to do. Yeah,
and of course, I like how Boba Fett's armor, he cleaned it all up, fixed it.
Yeah, I've been reading mixed reviews online. A lot of people like the old dinged up armor, but I think one theory I read I really like. It's Boba Fett had all the scratches on. Those were his scars. Okay. But other people have been wearing his armor now in the meantime. So the theory was he wanted to start fresh because a lot of those scars weren't his. Other people caused the dents and stuff. So
I agree with that. I think it was kind of a he was reborn after coming out of the Sarlacc pit, and now this is the rebirth of Boba Fett, and definitely with cleaning up the armor, that's that personal thing the character needed.
I'm really liking the look too with the black robes underneath. I think it looks really sharp.
Yeah, it's definitely a different look about him, and he's definitely a different Boba Fett than we knew from the original trilogy. And of course, there's Bill Burr sitting there in the driver's seat. I love the him driving. He goes, I don't know how you people see through this thing. He goes, and I'm talking about Mandalorians.
And here we get the foreshadowing where Bill Burr's character Mayfeld is talking about how, kind of like, the theory of, do you actually believe what you believe, or do you only believe it because you were born into it? And he's talking about Alderaan versus Mandalore, and how they are strict to their beliefs, but both don't exist anymore.
Right.
And then he gets into how no matter what your rules are, you're going to cross them when things hit the fan. And which foreshadows what's going to happen later on with the helmet, but also he brought up a good distinction here with the Mandalorian putting on this helmet. He said, is your rule you can't take your helmet off, or is the rule you can't show your face? Because there is a difference.
Yeah.
So he kind of calls him out on it there a little bit, and I thought that was interesting.
As we always heard was, as like the armorer said in the first season, she asked, "Have you taken your helmet off in front of somebody?"
Right.
And he hasn't. Even when he changed, he went somewhere else, changed, came out, and he was in the Stormtrooper. So realistically, it doesn't say he can't show his face. It's just he can't reveal himself from his helmet in front of somebody.
Also
there is the ways around that.
Are we seeing the side effects of him interacting with other Mandalorians? So far, every Mandalorian he meets takes their helmet off. So it may indicate he's questioning the beliefs he was raised in.
Yeah, I think that's part of it, but I also think it also comes to his sense of duty and honor when it comes to Grogu.
Right. It shows the relationship, and he also referred to him as how did he call him? Well, everyone kept referring to Grogu as his kid.
Yeah, he was saying it
instead
was.
of
Yeah, everybody said, yeah, we hope you get your kid back instead of the child.
yeah, there was a definite switch in verbiage.
Well, and then when the video to Moff Gideon, you know, Dan is like, he basically says, "You have no idea how much he means to me."
Well, that was a word by word repeat of what Moff Gideon said to him in episode 7 of season 1 when they're standing outside. He's like, "You may think you know what you have, but you don't. You don't know what." So the Mandalorian used Gideon's own words against them that time.
Yeah,
which it really, but he also meant it. He means more to me than you know.
Yeah, and of course, I think with this episode, the stuff we heard prior to the season about Pedro Pascal not being happy because you never see his face, I think that was all just smoke and mirrors, because we do see in this episode his face, and it's not beat up like we did in the first season, and that. But I do like how Mayfield looks at him, goes and gives him a helmet before they take off after they've shot the Imperial guy, and like a commander, and they're like, he was like, put an helmet on. He goes, "I never saw your face."
He said, "You did what you had to do. I never saw your face." And I think this was a great bonding moment between these two too. And Mayfeld's character
there.
This is, I mean, it's kind of like Merle in The Walking Dead, how he was kind of a jerk. You didn't like him. But then his character arc did such a solid turn at one point where all of a sudden people loved Merle. Mm-hmm. And this episode was huge. I mean, there was only one other episode with this character, and he was just, he was an okay guy. He was fine as a character, but there wasn't depth, and he was kind of the antagonist. But this really made him a fan favorite for a lot. I'm seeing posts all over the place with Bill Burr's face on it. Yeah,
no, it was definitely a big deal and all that. And I agree with Janice here. I really hope his character returns. I thought they were going to put him in the group and he'd go with them but he took off on his own. But it doesn't mean he's gone though.
My prediction is he will come back in Rangers of the New Republic under a new name. He'll have a fake identity. He won't be Mayfeld anymore because Mayfeld died. But I think we'll see him back in there is my prediction.
Yeah, I'm wondering though if we're not going to see him this week.
Oh well, we could. It's just he's wandering a planet by himself right now with no transportation.
Well, the thing is that even though they blew up that one installation, there still could be ships and everything else. And I'm sure there's other ships in that were not destroyed that we could definitely see on that. So definitely, excited to see what they end up this week, because I don't know the time running on this episode this week. I did kind of mess with someone online. Yeah, I messed with someone online. They go, I hope this week's episode isn't a short one. It better be more than 35 minutes. And I commented, I hear it's 27 minutes, just to mess with somebody. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting on that.
I think, in all seriousness, I think it's going to have to be like an hour and 20, hour and a half. Just because there's got to be a ton of people coming in board and making this a grand finale, I would think.
I think it's going to. Well, how long was the episode? Let's see here. Let me go to IMDb and see last year's season finale, because the season finales last year I
think I lost Brett. He's stuck or something. So there you are. You were like frozen for a while there.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you were frozen on my end or frozen for everyone.
I might have been. So, well, we'll see. I don't know the time frame. Like I said here, let me. I'm pulling up the Mandalorian on IMDb.
46 minutes was chapter 8.
Okay, so if they kind of stick with that, we could definitely see.
But I want more.
Well, I want more. Jeez, it's this is
it's good.
Yeah, it's been it's been one of the best thing for Star Wars, because it's really brought everything back.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gotten to see this season, especially we they brought back Boba Fett. We've got confirmation on that. So, it's, and the thing is too, is regardless of how, whatever the length is, I mean, I always want more, but I like they don't add stuff in time wise just to pad. They tell the story as it needs to
They
be
tell
told.
what they need. Yep.
Yeah.
If they need extra, they take extra. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah. And really what this season, it's really only been like, in the 30 to 40-minute range. They've not been long.
Yeah. I'm trying to picture what the story is going to be. Now, if this is going to be a 3-season arc, then it's probably going to be a Empire Strikes Back tragic ending style of ending. I think it's going to end in such a way that it looks like the heroes are going to lose, and you got to tune in next season to find out what happened.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen, but who knows?
Well, it depends. I mean, it's realistically, the end of the first season wasn't necessarily like a big grandiose thing. I mean, it was basically just the reveal. I think really if they're looking at a 3-season arc, it's all 3 seasons combined would equal the arc of like a one of the movies. So
yeah,
the way they're going with that. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm excited about what this week's episode is going to be. I've again not seen anything leaked or
they have done a good job of keeping a lid on everything. And that's the other thing with Filoni and Favreau. They have managed to tell story arcs that, they have a rabid fan base that knows every nook and cranny out there. And we're not getting leaks. We're even we think with all the history we know of Star Wars, we project what we think, and they always find a way of coming up with something that wasn't predictable, and but it still comes across fresh and true to what Star Wars is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Unlike Game of Thrones, who last season just said, let's put in everything that no one guessed out of all these years. And even though it doesn't make sense, we'll just blow it up.
That's because they went against all the source material and didn't want to listen to it. But according to IMDb, I think this is false. It's probably just doing the time 16 they're saying is 40 minutes. So I don't know how true that is.
Because I gotta imagine we're going to get all of I would think we're going to get Bo-Katan back. I think it's going to be a finale. We're going to see a major Mandalorian rally of Bo-Katan, Boba Fett, the Mandalorian. I think we're going to get I'm wondering if we'll get some of the old, we haven't seen the Armorer all season.
No. Well, the whole group of Mandalorians, I mean,
we don't know where they're
armor, so
right. So this will be interesting to see where all that goes. We have the Death Troopers, the Dark Troopers. Are we going to see them in action? I think we will. And then potentially Thrawn, because that was introduced, potentially Ahsoka. Mm-hmm. So there's so many potentials. We don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Or they could leave Ahsoka out completely because she's getting a series, and that was just a teaser.
I have a feeling we're not going to see Ahsoka. I don't think Thrawn's going to be introduced in this. I think Thrawn's going to pop up for Ahsoka series, and it'll go that direction. I think a lot of what we're going to see is what we just saw this last episode. We're going to see Gina Carano. We're going to see Tamara Morrison, Ming-Na. If we get,
will we see who Grogu reached out to through the Seeing Stone?
That's something I'm thinking we may get a.
I have a feeling that'll be the final scene, maybe.
And I have a feeling they're going to do like they did last season with Boba Fett. They're going to give a lot of hints away, but they're not going to show who it is. Right. Because with Boba Fett, we all speculated last season. It was like, it's Boba Fett. There's the Spurs. There's this. Didn't have to say anything. Didn't have to see anything. Wasn't in his armor. Right. So and then they brought him back.
Yeah, they're definitely willing to take their time. They like the tease. They don't feel rushed. It's like, okay, we're going to reveal everything in one episode. No, they're fine with giving you a little taste and then ignoring it for 5 episodes.
Well, or wait a whole year for it. So
yeah, and we're all like Brad Pitt yelling, "What's in the box?"
Yeah, and I think we're going to get a lot of that. I think it's going to be an interesting tie-in here. Of course, I and it could be more of because the fact that we saw the Darksaber again. So it's gonna be interesting to see. I'm really excited for this week's episode, and I'll definitely be up early watching it before I go to work on Friday.
Me too. Now, another thing that people are waiting with bated breath, got the physical copies.
Yes.
Now, these are the proof copies. Wretched Realms issue 1 in hand. It came a couple days ago.
I put you on solo layout so you can take a good look at that. I love the way it looks.
It came out good. It looks great. I'll give you some of a little look at the interior. So, Ready Comics is our printer for these. They did a phenomenal job, and so the artist proof copies came in. The digital proofs look good, but I like to get the physical ones in because you never know how your screen is calibrated and everything. It can change how it looks. So I wanted to get the physical copy in hand before I approve the final print run. Yep, and it came out great. So I went ahead and kicked off the print run. So in a couple weeks, I'll receive those, and then we will
remind everybody who did the cover.
Yes. So I got to give a shout out to the whole creative team. I did not do this by myself. We got for the interiors. I did the majority of the interiors, but I also had Shara Lima assist me with the color flats. So she took care of that, which helped me a lot with my timing, because this was only a 3-month turnaround from beginning to end. So that's a fast turnaround, especially, we're a small independent company, but she helped me with the interiors. And then for the cover, we got Sergio Cariello to do the inks for the cover here, did this beautiful one. And then Kevin Meinert handled the colors on this. Then I'll show you then we also have limited edition covers, which are, let me go like this. I don't want to give away the last page. There's Kevin's limited edition cover there, limited to 100 copies. Then Sergio's inks only. I don't want to give away the final page. My limited cover and then the unlimited cover. But that's it.
You can go to bardstone.com and take a look at a lot of that stuff too. So
yeah. So the plan is we are going to ship these out once they get in. And then once I'm done shipping out, then we will release the official digital copy as well. But we want people to experience it in the actual media it was designed to be experienced in first. So yeah, the cover, if you don't know who Sergio Cariello is, I've known him for many years. He's an amazing artist, amazing person. He used to do the Lone Rangers series. He created the Action Bible, which is the #1 comic book Bible in the world, like over 60 million copies or something, and in 60 languages or something like that. So it's everywhere. So you can buy it at Target and Walmart and everything. But he does phenomenal work. So yeah, so I'm excited. Good stuff.
Yeah, it's great. So everybody will getting those in the next month, and we kick off 2021. Getting something positive in the mail, and
and we got in 2021. Keep tuned. You can follow us on bardstone.com. Kevin Meinert's issue #2 of Poe Macabre Master will be. We're launching that, I think, in February for the Kickstarter, and then in the meantime, between now and then, I will be finishing up issue 2 of Crimson Shadows. Kevin's helping me on that. And our plan, I think, was March or April for our Kickstarter of issue 2 of Crimson Shadows. I'm still writing some other things. I got some stories that'll work for Wretched Realms, which is an anthology series. And then I've got some standalone series like The Essentials coming out. So I've been busy. Brett's got his Boomtown Scabs he's working on. So we got a lot in the pipeline here. We're expecting 2021 to be an awesome year for us.
It's gonna be a great time. So
it is.
All right, hey, this has been fun. We really didn't go much over the hour. It covered a lot of information. I'm really excited for this week's episode. Next week, join us. We'll talk more Mandalorian. We'll talk a little Christmas spirit and kind of get into what we're doing over the next holidays and prepping for the new year. So
that's right.
Until next time, join us live.